Welcome to Lattes and Lattes, the podcast where we blend the world of law and business with a warm cup of information and common sense. I'm your host, Sidney Wheelan, attorney, real estate investor, and business owner. Each week, we'll be your go-to source for legal insights, business advice, and so much more. Whether you're a seasoned professional, an ambitious entrepreneur, or simply someone seeking guidance, we'll have you covered. From navigating the legal landscape to empowering you with valuable business strategies, we'll explore the legal side of life and enjoy a virtual latte along the way. So, grab your favorite latte, get comfortable, and let's dive into Lattes and Lattes. Welcome to episode 15 of Lattes and Lattes, sponsored by the Wheelan law firm of Moberly, Missouri, your go-to source for legal issues encountered by your family and your business. If you have questions about anything we discuss on this podcast, please reach out to us at www.wheelanlaw.com. Our goal is to serve you, your family, and your business professionally and with the utmost compassion and understanding. I'm your host, Sidney Wheelan. In my role as attorney in a small town in mid-Missouri, I find myself in court several times a week advocating for my client's position in front of a judge in various types of legal cases, ranging from probate and guardianships to high-dollar contract disputes to wrongful death claims. Often, those disputes eventually get set for trial by jury. And, like it or not, sometimes jury trials garner local or even national attention. As I'm sitting here this morning, sipping my coffee and perusing the news media is all abuzz about the latest jury trial resulting in a guilty verdict of multiple criminal charges against a famous or infamous public figure, depending upon your particular political leanings. Everyone from Fox News to CNN and all of the alphabet media outlets in between are criticizing and analyzing that trial in particular and the jury trial process in general. As a practicing attorney, I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about that process and why I feel it is so important to our society and way of life. A jury trial is the process by which a panel of 6 to 12 people get to decide the fate of the litigants, deciding who wins and who loses, and whether or not either side is entitled to damages, or, in the case of a criminal trial, whether the accused lands in jail or incurs fines or other limitations on their lives. I have worked in various positions within law offices for most of my adult life. My first legal job was as a legal secretary in the office of the county prosecuting attorney. It was a small, one attorney, one secretary office. I was 19 years old at the time. Yes, I spent much of my time there doing the usual administrative tasks of typing, filing, answering the phone, and taking out the trash. But it was the other things, the investigations, the victim stories, the evidence, the search warrants, and yes, the jury trials that piqued my interest and eventually led me on the journey to law school and eventually to growing my own law firm. The very first jury trial I attended was a capital murder trial. I saw firsthand how the jury was selected, how evidence was handled and introduced, how witnesses were scheduled and questioned, how jury instructions were carefully drafted and read to the jury, and I watched both the accused and the victims' families as the verdicts were read. It was at that point I began to understand the important role of juries in our legal system and to understand that the jury trial is the key to fair and impartial justice. Jury duty embodies the democratic principle that justice should be administered by a group of peers rather than solely by government officials. This helps maintain a system of checks and balances within the judicial process. Serving on a jury is an important civic duty that involves citizens participating in the legal process by helping to decide the outcome of court cases. Jurors listen to the evidence presented during a trial, evaluate the credibility of witnesses, and deliberate with fellow jurors to reach a verdict. This process is a fundamental aspect of the judicial system, ensuring that legal decisions are made by a representative cross-section of the community. Jury service is also an educational experience that provides insight into the legal system, courtroom procedures, and the responsibilities of citizenship. Jurors have an opportunity to gain a deeper appreciation for the complexities of the law and the importance of due process. In this age of extensive media coverage of jury trials with national and worldwide interest, it is important for all of us to understand the process. Jurors are expected to be impartial, which helps ensure that the verdicts are based on evidence and facts rather than biases or external influences. Extensive steps are taken by the judges and attorneys for all parties to pick 12 impartial jurors from a huge panel of prospective jurors. In this episode of Lattes and Lattes, I will highlight the steps in this process and answer some questions I often receive regarding jury trials. First, let's talk about why the jury trial is so important to our rule of law. A diverse jury pool helps reflect the community's varied perspectives, which is essential for fair and balanced decision-making. Each juror brings unique experiences and viewpoints that contribute to a more comprehensive deliberation process. Serving on a jury fosters civic engagement by involving citizens directly in the justice system. It provides a first-hand understanding of the legal processes and the importance of upholding the rule of law. Jury duty ensures public participation in the legal system, promoting transparency and accountability. The fate of the litigants is determined by a panel, not just a single person. This oversight is designed to prevent abuses of power and ensure that the legal proceedings are conducted fairly. In spite of explosive media coverage and armchair quarterbacking of public legal proceedings, when citizens serve on juries, it should reinforce public trust in the legal system. Knowing that ordinary people have a say in legal outcomes enhances the legitimacy and credibility of judicial decisions. Jury trials are a safeguard for defendants, ensuring that they are judged by an impartial group of peers. This protection may be especially crucial in criminal cases where the stakes are high and personal liberties are at risk. In civil cases, juries help resolve disputes fairly and equitably, protecting individuals' and entities' rights and interest. I would like to share with you some answers to questions that frequently come up in my practice regarding jury duty. First, who is eligible to serve on a jury? Eligibility typically includes being a U.S. citizen, at least 18 years old, proficient in English, and having no disqualifying criminal convictions. 2. How are jurors selected? Potential jurors are usually selected randomly from voter registration lists, driver's license databases, or other similar records. The jury pool consists of a large number of potential jurors, many more than will actually be picked to serve on a jury. Those potential jurors are called into court and then go through a lengthy selection process called voir dire or voir dire. Voir dire is the process of questioning potential jurors to identify any biases or preconceptions that could affect their judgment in the trial. The potential jurors are questioned extensively by the judge and by the attorneys on both sides to assess their suitability and impartiality for the case. Jurors may be eliminated for good cause, such as a health problem or a connection to the case. After the questioning process, each side is entitled to a certain number of strikes for any number of reasons, or for no reason at all. I often say that the process for picking a jury is more like a process of elimination, eliminating any jurors who are not fair or impartial, as opposed to picking the most favorable people to serve. 3. Can I be excused from jury duty? Yes, there are valid reasons for being excused, such as medical issues, financial hardship, or prior commitments. Each jurisdiction has specific rules regarding the exemptions. 4. What happens if I ignore a summons for jury duty? Ignoring a summons for jury duty can result in penalties, including fines or even jail time, depending upon the jurisdiction. 5. What types of cases will I be asked to serve on? You could be selected for either civil or criminal cases, depending on the needs of the court and the type of trial scheduled. Civil cases are usually disputes such as contracts or personal injury claims and must be proved by a preponderance of the evidence. Sometimes we refer to this type of proof as more likely than not. Criminal cases involve crimes, felonies, and misdemeanors. Criminal cases must be proven to a higher standard of proof, beyond a reasonable doubt. The jurors in criminal cases are asked to determine issues that could result in jail time or imprisonment for the defendant if convicted. 6. How long does jury service usually last? The length of jury service varies, but typically it lasts a few days to a few weeks. Longer trials are possible, and the jurors will be informed of the expected duration beforehand. 7. Will I be compensated for jury duty? Yes, jurors generally receive a small daily stipend, usually very small, though the amount varies by jurisdiction. Some employers also will provide paid leave for jury duty. 8. What should I wear to jury duty? Courtrooms typically require business casual attire. Please avoid casual clothing like shorts, tank tops, or flip-flops. 9. Can my employer fire me for attending jury duty? No, it is illegal for employers to fire or retaliate against employees for fulfilling their jury duty obligations. 10. Can I discuss the case with others during the trial? No, jurors are instructed not to discuss the case with anyone, including family, friends, or other jurors, until the deliberations begin. After the trial is over, most courts allow the jurors to discuss the case if they choose to do so. 11. What if I have an emergency during trial? You must inform the court immediately if an emergency arises that could affect your ability to serve. The judge will decide how to proceed. 12. What is the role of the juror during a trial? The court and the attorneys prepare written instructions for the jurors that must be carefully followed by the jurors throughout the actual trial and during the jury deliberation. The jury panel listens to the evidence, evaluates witness testimony, and deliberates to reach a verdict based on the facts presented in court and pursuant to the jury instructions given to them by the judge. 13. What if I believe I cannot be impartial? If you feel you cannot be impartial, it is imperative to disclose this during the voir dire process so that the court can decide on your suitability for the case. 14. Do I need any special knowledge or training to be a juror? No special knowledge or training is required. Jurors are ordinary citizens, and the court provides all necessary instructions and explanations. 15. What should I bring with me to jury duty? Bring your jury summons, a form of ID, and any necessary personal items like reading material or snacks. Be prepared for waiting periods. The court will advise you of any personal items that may not be allowed during the trial. 16. Are jurors allowed to take notes during the trial? Policies on note-taking vary by court, but many courts do allow jurors to take notes to help remember important details during the deliberations. 17. What if I know someone involved in the case? If so, you must disclose any connections to the judge or the attorneys or the parties during voir dire, as this could affect your impartiality and your ability to serve on the jury. In conclusion, jury duty is more than just an obligation. It's a vital component of a functioning democracy. By serving on a jury, citizens contribute to the administration of justice, uphold democratic values, and ensure the legal system remains fair, transparent, and accountable. Embracing this civic responsibility helps maintain the integrity of the judicial process. Thank you for listening today. I hope that you have found this episode helpful. If you have questions about serving on a jury or jury trials in general, please reach out to us at www.wheelanlaw.com. We will also put our contact information in the show notes. As a reminder, if you hit the subscribe button, you will automatically be alerted when a new episode airs. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a 5-star review and share it with your friends and family. As always, my friends, grab a cup of coffee or your favorite latte, hold your loved ones tight, and have a great week.
This podcast episode contains general information for discussion purposes only. Each case is different and must be judged on its own merits. Missouri rules generally prohibit lawyers from advertising that they specialize in particular areas of the law. This show should not be construed to suggest such specialization. Nothing on this show should be taken as legal advice for any individual case or situation. This information is not intended to create an attorney-client relationship, and the listening or viewing of this podcast does not constitute an attorney-client relationship. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.